Hi everybody, Richard Tromans here again at Artificial Lawyer TV. Today we're looking at a new product called My Legal Einstein. It's an NLP-based product, and with us to tell us more about it is Jim. Hi Jim.
Hello, Richard. How are you? Thanks for
Very good.
having me.
Thanks. Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
hmm
Um, you used to work at Aptus, I remember you saying earlier. If you could just tell us a little bit, maybe just very briefly about your background and then about My Legal Einstein.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, I've been at kind of the two leading companies in the CLM space, both Axertis as well as Aptus. And previously, I was actually in charge of the AI engineering for both companies. So, I think there's a perception that legal AI is very, very difficult, right? And that's kind of how people perceive it. There's a lot of services involved, there's a lot of customization involved. Today, what I'm going to show you is this new application that I'm launching, My Legal Einstein, that allows you to basically get up to and running in a matter of minutes with legal AI.
And who is this aimed at? So this is, I mean, talking about CLM and sort of more transactional review. Where is this aimed? This is aimed at an in-house legal team to deal with their own paper, third-party paper, or is this a transactional tool?
Well, I think a lot of the CLM systems actually address kind of the in-house paper, right? Your originating contracts. This is more geared towards kind of the NLP AI application to specific third-party contracts. Specifically, what are you supposed to change when you see a third-party contract come in, okay, and how you actually effectively review it?
Gotcha. So would it be right to say this is around sort of redlining and sort of using a playbook that a corporate may have to update the text
Yeah,
is that right?
I exactly. You're actually right on target. It's really about like when you're actually looking at the human language and all the complexities of the human language, especially on the legal side. Can you actually have an AI tool guide a legal reviewer to understand what things you should actually redline, where you should redline, and how to do it actually effectively?
Gotcha. So effectively, I think a lot of people are calling these sort of negotiation tools because it's at that negotiation phase.
I think there's more to it. There's more collaboration aspects, there's more negotiation aspects. It's usually trying to get to an end product of an executed contract when you have many players involved, okay, including legal, including finance, including operations, including potentially outside counsel, and also the counterpart.
Awesome. Okay, well, I can just see on your website it says up and running in 5 minutes. Well,
hmm
as a test, you have 5 minutes
Okay.
to give us a walkthrough. So I will disappear and please take us through.
Sure, be happy to. So here's the website, and for anyone who actually lands on the website, it'll give you some information about what Wiley Weinstein does, and you actually go register and just fill out a form. It'll actually authenticate your email, and then you can basically go and log in. And this is actually what a login screen actually would look like. So I actually loaded some documents here already, but out of the gates, one of the things we actually do is we actually support both Word documents as well as PDF documents. So when Word documents are you're actually extracting the text, and in PDF documents, you're actually doing a upload and then a scan of the actual text itself to extract the textual information. Okay, so as part of this, and as part of how the AI engineering actually piece works, you can actually go and look at the clause labels. So what also happens is once you are looking at the contract itself, there you go. So once you actually look at the contract itself, it extracts the text and then it actually goes and maps each paragraph to a list of about 30 different legal topics. Okay, so if you can kind of imagine, when you're looking at third-party paper, you just received the document initially. The way it's currently done today is someone would actually go and read it from the very beginning to the end. And one of the big issues is that once you actually read the whole document, you may not remember where things are. Okay. So by labeling it and by indexing by legal topics, you can actually just go and, for example, go look at the termination clause in this contract. And it's actually an immediate way to actually go and navigate the contract. In addition, you can actually go into the contract itself and basically be able to drill down on specific topics. So how often do attorneys basically look at a contract and go, well, I may have missed something because you're embedding language into areas of the contract it may or may not intuitively belong. Okay. So another great example is, for example, payment information. So you have payments, which is financial information associated with the text. And usually in most contracts, you see a specific section related to payments, which contains the bulk of the financial information. But you also see other areas, other sentences in the rest of the text that says, here's potential financial penalties, how it's actually paid. So not only is it labeling each paragraph by kind of a legal topic, it allows you to drill down on that specific topic by adjusting the sensitivity. So if you actually add plus a couple of times, you can basically see additional paragraphs throughout the entire contract that actually has some flavor of payments. And that's actually one of the most important features associated with how AI actually looks at third-party paper, right? Because we're not originating paper here. We're actually looking and analyzing something that we've never seen before, okay? So what's really interesting about this is that it makes legal AI very accessible by anyone who just basically logs in and registers and just tries out the product in under 5 minutes, okay?
Interesting.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so now,
let me just stop you there for a second. Just ask
sure.
quick questions. Near the beginning there was a bit of redlining,
Mhm.
and then there was some additional text added. That was that like a sort of playbook type scenario where?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you're almost ahead of me here. So once you actually are able to navigate the third-party contract, the most obvious thing is to be able to compare it against other contracts or other playbooks. Okay. So in this interface, you can actually go up to six different panels. Each panel actually represents a different contract or a different contract document or a playbook of some sort, and you're trying to compare it. So as an example, let's say you actually open up another document here, and let's just pick something at random here. And you can basically see that you have a contract on the left side, you have a playbook in the middle, and you also have some other contract, maybe something that's similar to what you're working on in the first area. What you can do is you can actually turn on these topic sync capability, okay? And then just the topic on this side, and you can all of a sudden see, you click all of a sudden all the liability clauses across the entire screen. Okay. Or in the cases of where actually you're talking about playbook, you can actually look at like termination. Here is the termination language in the contract itself. Here is the playbook information associated with terminations. And here is another contract that actually has similar language that you might want to reuse in the contract on the left side. Okay. So as a typical example, you can actually basically say, okay, here is the language you might want to borrow. You copy it, and then on this side, you can actually go and input this information in as a change or document edit by replacing that specific sentence. And you're basically capturing the red line that way.
Gotcha. It's interesting that I've seen examples where you're using previous work product, and I've also seen examples where you're using playbooks. And interestingly, you're actually using a kind of synthesis of the two, which is interesting. In terms of the training, in most cases, certainly if you want to get good, accurate responses, there has to be some training. How are you going to? How do you actually do the training on this? So ABC Corporation rings you up, says, "Okay, I want to use this," and then they're like, "Oh, okay, but we haven't actually trained it." How do we get some good results from this?
Great question. So out of the box, and part of the reason why this product is so compelling is that even without training, it comes with pre-built models for about 30 or so different legal categories, which are very compelling, and they're the most common legal categories across all contracts. So as an example, you can go see a attorney. They'll always look at indemnification. They'll look at a liability. They'll look at termination. they'll look at dispute resolution. Practically all attorneys actually kind of drill in on those topics. Data security is also a very popular topic now as well. So that's actually also included in that area. Now that's without any training. Now, if you actually wanted to, you can actually also have the ability to define new document types. Okay, and here's an example of a document type that's a auto procurement contract document type. So these are procurement contracts for auto parts, for example. Okay, and you can define things that are custom labels for those specific types of contracts. So for example, you might label a section related to delivery SLA or finance contingency or some other ways of addressing specific workflow associated with that document type. Now, one thing that we will also allow you to do is being able to retrain the models based on those specific document types. Right. So once you start out with the product, you can actually automatically use the models that's already there, which are actually quite good as it goes. Or when you define a new document type, we can actually retrain models based on that specific document type. So you can have something that's specific to auto procurement contracts, and it will be based on your inputs in terms of how you are working with the product, how you're maybe mapping the different paragraphs to your types of labels.
Gotcha. Fantastic. Well, look, we have to leave it there. I have to keep these relatively short. Just quickly, if somebody did want to use this, you're out of beta now, or you're a fully fledged product now. People can just get a license.
Correct. So if you actually land on the website, you can register, and then you have a trial license for 30 days. And then after that, there's a price point of $100 per month for the entry piece, or the $300 per month for the full-fledged everything, all the bells and whistles piece.
Gotcha. And I'm guessing, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing this is covering mostly the US for now, as opposed to other jurisdictions.
Well, it's mostly US, but effectively they're English contracts. We do have plans to actually go support other languages, but out of the gates, we are supporting English out of the box.
But it would cover British English, which obviously has quite a lot of spelling differences.
Correct, it would.
All right, thanks, Jim. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing some more. Take care.
All right, fantastic. Thank you.